So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning back in for episode 10 of the Isle of Man Sport podcast. So we had lots of distinguished guests over the last 9 episodes, and it just keeps getting better. So today we have Stephen Dillon from Isle of Man Cycling, and we have Shanaze Reade, multi-world champion BMX rider, and also a multi-world champion on the track cycling as well. Shanaze, welcome. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Okay, thanks for giving up your time today to come and talk to us. Let's start with you, Shanaze. So it's not your first visit to the island, is it?
No, it's the second time. I came before and did some coaching in the BMX, so it's the second time on the island.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get into BMX riding?
I got into it like a long time ago now. I was 10 when I got into it, and my uncle's 2 kids did BMX racing. I just loved sport all the time, and then kind of a bit of a wild child, and then found BMX and was just it kind of fitted my personality and just fell in love with it, really. Brilliant,
excellent. And from there, what was your sort of pathway into, I suppose, from starting out loving sport and taking it more seriously?
Well, just over time, obviously BMX wasn't in the Olympics when I first got involved in the sport, and for me it was just the passion and love of the sport, and I just wanted, I got kind of hooked on it and just wanted to be the best that I could be. And then over time won more and more events and become more and more successful. Then it got added into the Olympics, and it all kind of just came together for me, really.
Excellent. And Stephen, so having someone like Shanaze who's gone on and performed at the highest level, how does that affect local riders?
It's like anything really. If you get a good person on a motorbike, they'll look towards inspiring the greatest person at the time. Mm-hmm. Shanaze, like you say, Chloe, my eldest daughter, she looks up to Shanaze. We met Shanaze back in 2012, I think, for the first time at Braintree. Mm-hmm. And Chloe's always followed Shanaze from then on. So it's always inspiring for children to be able to get on with their mentors, basically, and watch what their mentors are doing. It's a great opportunity.
Right, it must feel like quite a responsibility being a role model to others as well, Shanaze. How does that feel to you?
I don't feel I don't feel like I have a responsibility. I just try and be the best person on the bike and off the bike. And for me, I feel like it's all about being professional. Like, if a child comes up to you, I know I was once that kid going up to my role model. And that's the beauty of BMX. Like, it's not like where the athletes are so far away, because everyone's at the same sort of events that you can go and access and chat to, the double Olympic champion, Myra Strongbergs, or, and often more than not, they will always speak to you. So for me, if any child comes up to me, I always make sure I give the time to them, because that stuff sticks in their head, like you say. And Chloe, remember speaking to me in 2012, and for me, I just always make sure that I'm, just respectful and not rude, and approachable, and always helpful. And then if you them kind of things, and that's your natural anyway, then I guess that role model comes in. And kids look up to you.
Right. And who have been your key influences in the sport over the years?
I haven't really had someone, so to speak, who's been like my main influence. It's just like I got brought up by my nan and granddad, so my granddad's always been like my biggest rock, really, because my mum had me at 16, and my granddad's like a tough a guy from the north, and he's like a plasterer and stuff, and he's just always installed into me about hard work and being dedicated and committed. And if you want to do something or want to achieve it, you've got to put in the work and the graft, as he calls it. He's always been kind of like my biggest role model, really.
Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. A lot of family role models are often play the biggest influence on people, mm-hmm. and the people who care for and love you and take you to find these opportunities in sport. Are quite often pivotal, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and in terms of looking at your experiences, how did you get into BMX, Stephen?
Okay, so we got into BMX from Chloe's uncle. He was riding BMXs. He'd started going away to compete at national level and stuff. And they said, why don't you bring Chloe up and have a go up at Ramsey? And that's where we went from there, really. So we've been at it now since 2012 properly. We got into the sport originally in 2011.
Right.
Like Shanaze says, when you go to these events, it's not just your average BMX rider that's there. You're riding in the vicinity of Shanaze, other top British riders as well. Paddy Sharrock. I'm trying to think of his name. He's no longer riding. Kai White.
Yeah.
You know, they're there. You walk past them. You stood in the same burger queue. And it's like Shanaze says, they'll always talk to you. They don't. It's not that sort of sport. It's a very family oriented sport. Very, very family oriented, which is great. It's a great sport to be involved with. So, hence why one of the reasons we've pushed for getting it into the Manx Youth Games this year. So, onwards and upwards is the main thing, really.
Absolutely, and that's a fantastic opportunity to help develop the sport on the island as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now getting it into the youth games. So, what's that sort of structure going to look like on the island for the youth games this year?
It's yet to be decided. It's very difficult to. BMX racing it's a race. You know, it's the gate drops down, and for the next 40 seconds of your life, you're going to be pedaling and basically working your entire body from your tiptoes to your fingertips. So it's going to be good. What we do with them yet, we don't know. It all depends on what the track allows us to be able to do and how many we get. But it's going to be exciting. So we'll see where we go.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it takes off. And I sometimes go and do the assemblies around the schools to try and help spread the news of the Manx Youth Games. And when I did it at my daughter's school at Kirkmichael, they were absolutely buzzing at the thought of being able to go and try BMX in the Manx Youth Games. So already that sort of buzz is starting to grow. You know, and I think there's about 14 sports that they can try. And I know my daughter was gutted that she's not quite old enough to do it yet in the youth games, but as I say, there's nothing to stop her getting involved down the local tracks either.
No, that's it. I mean, the club is active. We have a Facebook page. If you want to come along and try, you don't need to be on a BMX bike. Bring a mountain bike. We'll help you out. It's not, although it's BMX racing, we are looking at creating groups to allow mountain bikes because to get people into the sport really and to grow it on the Isle of Man. BMX racing is always going to be in the shadows of road cycling on the Isle of Man, and we have to accept that.
Right.
But there's nothing to say that we can't come out of those shadows with a couple of riders that are here.
Oh, for sure.
We just need to get them and get that structure right and keep going forward.
Super. And so, well, hopefully, Shanaze, you're going to inspire so many BMX enthusiasts well into the future for the island. Before we finish off, I mean, what's the sort of highlight of your BMX career? If you could pinpoint any particular instances that have really stuck out in your memory.
I think like a highlight for me probably would be going to my first Olympics in 2008 was like a highlight. I've had many different great races and everything else, but just actually going to my first Olympics, and BMX was first introduced to the Olympic Games in 2008, and just going and representing my country and having all the support from family, friends and people, the fans watching the sport and everything else that was special because it's no other BMXer that had been to the Olympics, so we were the very first, and that made history. So that was special to me.
Excellent. So what did it feel like getting that the first time you put on that national vest?
When we put on the race jersey on, it was pretty it was special, and just going to Birmingham where you go to the NEC to pick all your Olympic kit up, and just so excited about and just buzzing to wanting to race, and just being around the best sports people in the world. And it came, all of us coming together, similar to like what the youth, the youth games is. It's put it on a grander scale, and for us, that's what, that's the pinnacle of where we wanted to be in our sport, and to finally get there, and everyone, doing their thing in their disciplines was special.
Super. Now, so what's the future hold for you now, Shanaze? What are you getting up to at the moment?
All sorts of things. I'm the cycling and walking ambassador for the West Midlands, which has been really good. And then coaching a GB athlete called Shanaze Reade, who's going to the Olympics in BMX in 2020. So not long now. And then I have an agent and we're on different projects and different things. So life's busy, but life's great.
Brilliant, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, both of you.
No problem.
Really appreciate you featuring on our podcast. And good luck with the launch for the Manx Youth Games tonight. And we look forward to seeing how your athletes get on in 2020 as well. And hopefully we'll see some fantastic numbers getting involved with the Youth Games locally on the Isle of Man, Stephen, as well.
That's it,
So thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.